Hey everyone! Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into a Hollywood twist you won't believe. You've heard about It Ends With Us, right? Well, here's the shocker. Justin Baldoni wasn't always meant to lead this project, despite fighting for it for years. Rumor has it that Blake Lively and Rayn Reynold had a secret plan all along, sidelining Justin completely. Was this a calculated takeover? Stick around as we break it all down, step by step. Step 1. Start small and stay underpaid. Let's kick things off with the first move that set the stage for everything else. Picture this. Blake Lively, a superstar in her own right, signs on as the lead in It Ends With Us. But here's the twist. She supposedly negotiated a surprisingly modest paycheck, just $3 million. For a name as big as Blake's, that's way below her usual rate. So what's really going on? Well, that smaller paycheck allegedly came with something much more powerful, an executive producer credit. In other words, Blake isn't merely an actress for hire. She's also at the creative table. She can call shots on casting, script changes, and even marketing strategies. By staying underpaid on paper, she avoids raising eyebrows among studio execs, all while quietly gaining a major foothold. Sounds smart, right? That's because it's a page straight out of Rayn Reynolds' playbook. Remember when Rayn agreed to a relatively tiny $2 million salary for the first Deadpool movie? Everyone thought it was a risk, until Deadpool 2 raked in a whopping $785 million at the global box office. Rayn's deal gave him creative control and a nice chunk of back-end profits. Now Blake seems to be doing the exact same thing, trade upfront millions for the chance to mold the project her way. Why is this such a big deal? Because most A-listers don't take pay cuts. They want their guaranteed paycheck. But those with a long-term vision know there's often bigger money and bigger power waiting on the back end. Once the film becomes a hit, those who negotiated creative control can end up making far more than a standard salary. Plus, they get to shape how the film turns out. Genius move, right? So, Blake's smaller paycheck coupled with her new producer powers is just the first clue that something bigger might be at play. If that doesn't sound sneaky enough, wait until you hear how she waited for the perfect moment to strike, leaving Justin Baldoni with barely any room to resist. Step 2. Wait until half the budget is spent. Now, here's where things really start heating up. Once Blake locked in her role as both star and executive producer, she reportedly bided her time until half of the film's $25 million budget was already out the door. Think about that. The set's buzzing, costumes are chosen, and production is rolling along nicely. Then boom, Blake decides to turn the entire wardrobe situation upside down. We're talking about dresses, shoes, accessories, all of it already purchased. Costume designers had poured weeks of work into assembling the perfect looks for her character. But practically overnight, Blake refused to wear the finalized outfits, insisting on an entirely new wardrobe that fit her personal style. Suddenly, the production budget found itself stretched way beyond what anyone had planned for. And just like that, the film was in a financial pinch. Why wait until half the budget was gone? Simple. It's the ultimate power move. By this stage, the production is too far along to recast her. They've already filmed parts of the movie, schedules are set in stone, and deadlines are looming. If she walks, the entire project could crumble. Justin Baldoni, who supposedly put his heart and soul, and maybe a good chunk of personal money, into this film, is now backed into a corner. He can't afford any delays, and he certainly can't risk losing his leading lady. And Blake didn't just pick any old replacements off the rack. She reportedly demanded high-end designer pieces from brands she's personally close with, causing sky-high wardrobe costs. Talk about a double whammy. Not only do you have to pay more for each outfit, but you also have to deal with last-minute shipping, fittings, and even reworking the shooting schedule around her new fashion demands. To make matters worse, these fittings had to happen at her home, with Rayn Reynolds often present, adding travel and logistic expenses on top of everything else. Picture Justin Baldoni's predicament. Half the budget is gone, and every extra dollar spent on new costumes could derail the whole production. Yet, if he says no to Blake, he risks losing her star power entirely. He's basically stuck. No wiggle room, no budget cushion, nowhere to turn. In other words, Blake has him right where she wants him. Are you starting to see a pattern here? First, Blake gets a seat at the producer's table. Next, she waits until the film is in too deep to back out. Then, she hijacks the wardrobe, draining more funds and leaving the production on shaky ground. Some might call it shrewd business, others might call it manipulation. Either way, it's bold. And if that's not enough drama for you, just wait for the next step. Because that's where Rayn Reynolds steps in and things get even more jaw-dropping. Step 3, rewrite the script. With Ryan's help. Blake was never going to settle for just changing outfits, right? Nope. Now she allegedly sets her sights on reshaping the entire movie, from character arcs to pivotal dialogues. And who jumps in to lend a helping hand? Her partner in crime, Rayn Reynolds, famous for taking the reins on projects like Deadpool. Insiders claim that Ryan worked closely with Blake to rewrite key scenes, catching both Justin Baldoni and the original screenwriter completely off guard. Imagine Justin getting a casual text from Blake, inviting him over to discuss some ideas. He shows up, only to find Rayn Reynolds and Taylor Swift waiting in the living room. Yes, the pop icon herself. They're all smiles, praising Justin for giving them a chance to collaborate, but in reality, they're presenting a brand new script that basically bulldozes the old one. Think about how overwhelming that must feel. You walk in expecting a friendly brainstorming session, and instead, you're ambushed by two Hollywood heavyweights and one of the biggest names in music. Every suggestion they make is framed like it's going to elevate the film or bring out the emotional depth. If Justin tries to object, well, he's painted as the bad guy standing in the way of creative brilliance. And that's exactly what happened, according to whispers on set. When Justin hesitated to give the green light, Blake pulled out the nuclear option. Late-night texts filled with emotional pleas about how Justin was blocking her artistic growth. Overwhelmed and outnumbered, Justin finally relented. The new script, far more in line with Blake and Ryan's vision, not the one Justin and his original screenwriting partner had painstakingly crafted. Step 4, exploit the Hollywood strikes. When the writers and actors' strikes brought It Ends With Us to a screeching halt, most people assumed it spelled disaster for the film. But Blake, she saw it as a prime chance to take control. The moment production stalled, she jumped at the opportunity to renegotiate her contract, rolling in with a list of 17 no-compromise demands. Justin Baldoni had no real way to push back. Sony Studios, co-distributing the movie, had already positioned Blake as the film's biggest selling point. Replacing her simply wasn't an option. And with Sony applying extra pressure, Justin was pretty much trapped. This gave Blake more than creative sway. It handed her absolute control. By the time filming could continue, every aspect, from her paycheck to the entire marketing plan, was updated to fit her new conditions. At this point, you might think Blake had everything she wanted. But guess what? She wasn't finished yet. And Justin Baldoni's challenges were far from over. If you thought negotiating contracts was the end of the power plays, think again. Step 5, infiltrate the editing room. You'd think once filming wrapped, Justin might finally regain some ground, right? Wrong. Blake made one last major move, demanding access to the director's protected editing window. Normally, that's a sacred time reserved for the director and post-production team to shape the film's final cut without outside meddling. Blake was only supposed to get a quick 2-day look, but somehow she stretched it into a 10-day marathon. In those extra days, she brought in none other than Rayn Reynolds to dissect, critique, and reshape pivotal scenes. Word on the street is they wanted to create a rival version of the film, pitting their edit against Justin's original vision, effectively giving them a major upper hand. But the drama didn't stop there. Blake and Ryan brought in the editor who had worked with Ryan on Deadpool, pushing the film even further from Justin's intended direction. And then there's the kicker. Taylor Swift allegedly stepped in concerning the film's score, leading to the original composer's removal in favor of someone she preferred. Suddenly, it wasn't just a movie anymore, it was a mini empire in the making, with Justin's vision shoved to the side. If you're keeping score, that's Blake, Ryan, and Taylor, all flexing their influence. It's practically the perfect storm of celebrity might. But if you think they stopped at the editing room, buckle up. There's one final power move that takes this story to a whole new level. Step 6. The final power move. producer credit, and franchise control. At this stage, Blake wasn't satisfied with just pulling the strings from behind the curtain. She wanted official recognition. So what did she do? She pursued a Producers Guild of America (PGA) credit, giving her a legitimate spot alongside Ryan as a full-on producer. By PGA standards, a producer has to show involvement in script development. Blake did that by rewriting those crucial scenes, hiring key personnel, remember her wardrobe and editing picks, overseeing post-production, hello, editing room takeover, and shaping marketing efforts. Blake ticked every box, which some say was her plan from the very beginning. But why stop at a single film? Insiders claim Blake and Ryan are aiming for the entire Colleen Hoover book-to-film franchise. With Colleen Hoover launching her own production company, Heartbones Entertainment, the speculation is this: It Ends With Us was never just about one movie. It was all about building a massive empire, and Blake and Ryan are firmly at the helm. The fallout and the inevitable end. Sure, Blake might have scored a resounding victory here, but at what cost? The film's marketing is already catching heat, with fans saying Blake put her personal branding ahead of the novel's sensitive themes. And remember when Blake compared herself to Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones? Let's not forget how that ended. Jon Snow took down Daenerys. And guess who else sports a man bun? Justin Baldoni, anyone. So, is this the ultimate power play or a Hollywood fiasco in the making? Only time and box office numbers will tell. Now it's your turn to weigh in. Has Blake orchestrated a brilliant coup, or is this bound to backfire spectacularly? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and stay tuned for more behind-the-scenes twists. If there's one thing we can promise, it's that the It Ends With Us saga is far from over, especially with Blake and Ryan eyeing that next big franchise move. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.